Story 2. The Bell That Swallows Names. The bell had no name. After it rang, neither did anyone who heard it. Tanvi's fingers knew bell metal the way a mother knows the bones of her sleeping child. Copper for warmth. Tin for clarity. A sliver of silver for reach. Too much lead, and the note died young. Too much pride, and the bell cracked before its first festival. She had cast 47 bells. Each had been named before cooling. A bell without a name was not silent. It was waiting. The drowned temple of Nalaya rose from the marshlands of Saptaveli after 3 days of poling through black water. Its spires broke the surface like the fingers of a buried hand. The reeds around it leaned away, though there was no wind. Tanvi guided her raft through the open gate. Inside, the water was still enough to reflect the ceiling. That was wrong. The hall was flooded nearly to the waist. The ceiling should have been lost in darkness. Instead, it appeared clearly in the water, carved with names struck through by deep chisel marks. The bell hung in the central hall. Smaller than she expected. Dark bronze. No clapper. Characters covered its surface from crown to lip. Tanvi did not approach it at once. A bell without a clapper rings only when it chooses. She set her tools on a dry stone platform and watched until dusk. 3 times the bell hummed without moving. Not a sound exactly, a pressure in the jaw, a vibration behind the teeth. Each time, the water rippled toward the bell. At sunset, Tanvi forgot her apprentice's face. Drupad. She remembered the name. She remembered the betrayal. The stolen tools. The burned workshop. The clients who stopped coming. But his face had vanished from her mind as cleanly as a portrait scraped from a wall. She pressed both palms over her eyes. Nothing. No jaw. No brow. No eyes. Only a label with no person beneath it. The bell hummed again. Another face disappeared. Tanvi did not sleep. She sat on the platform and began naming every person she knew, testing her own memory like a woman testing ice before crossing a river. Her mother's hands remained. Her father's stoop remained. The spice seller from the corner market remained. But the midwife who had delivered her became a shadow. The gatekeeper from her street became a voice without features. A boy she may once have loved became only a feeling of rain. The bell did not steal memories. That would have been kinder. It cut faces away from names, leaving recognition bleeding in the dark. By morning, Tanvi understood one thing: if she stayed, the bell would take more. By noon, she was wading toward it anyway. The water clung to her legs. It was too thick. When she stumbled, it held her upright with a gentleness that made her skin crawl. She reached the bell and touched the bronze. Warm. The characters beneath her fingertips shifted. Not visibly. But the metal changed under her skin, arranging itself into meanings she could feel but not read. Each mark was a name. Each name had once belonged to someone who had touched the bell, studied it, feared it, and vanished into its surface. At the bottom of the bell, beneath the newest inscription, there was an empty space. The exact width of her name. Tanvi pulled back. The bell hummed. Her mother's face disappeared. The loss bent her in half. It hurt physically, a hollow opening beneath her ribs, a place where love had been stored and then removed without cutting the skin. She crawled back to the platform and vomited marsh water. On the second day, she tried to leave. The gate was gone. Not closed. Not blocked. Gone. The water around the temple extended in every direction, flat and black beneath a flat grey sky. No reeds. No raft path. No horizon. Wherever she poled, the raft returned to the central hall. The bell waited. On the 3rd day, Tanvi began copying the marks. She pressed damp paper to the bronze and rubbed charcoal over the surface. She worked until her fingers blackened and shook. The bell hummed constantly now, a low vibration that loosened people from her mind one face at a time. Her father vanished. The spice seller vanished. The woman who taught her numbers vanished. By the fourth day, Tanvi could remember only one face clearly, her own, reflected in the black water. And even that face looked uncertain, as if the water were still deciding what to show her. She studied the rubbings. The inscriptions were not random. They formed a pattern. Not a prayer. A mold. A bellcaster's instruction written in stolen identities. The bell did not simply consume names. It taught the consumed how to build another throat. A wrong thought came to her. Cast a second bell. She almost laughed. The idea was madness. She had no proper furnace, no clean metal, no apprentices, no molding sand. But she had temple braziers. She had broken chains. She had charcoal. She had black water. She had hands that still remembered their craft even when the world forgot the woman attached to them. She worked. The original bell hummed while she melted bronze. It took the face of her father's father. It took the face of the first woman who had bought a bell from her. It took the face of Drupad again, though there was almost nothing left to take. By the time Tanvi poured molten metal into the rough mold, she no longer knew whether the hands doing the work were hers. The new bell cooled misshapen and ugly. Its lip was uneven. Its sides were scarred. No temple would have accepted it. Tanvi loved it. She struck it with a stone. The sound moved backward. Not outward into the hall, but inward through the old bell. A reverse ringing. A wound opening from the inside. The black water shivered. Names rose from the flooded floor in letters of pale light. Faces appeared above the surface, hundreds of them, blinking, gasping, dissolving as they were returned to whatever remained of the world outside. The old bell cracked. From the crack came no sound. From the crack came absence. Tanvi struck the new bell again. The fracture widened. More faces escaped. Some were whole. Some were half-formed. Some were only mouths, only eyes, only the faint outline of a person who had been inside bronze too long. Then her own name returned. Not all at once. Tar. A gap. Vi, a missing letter lodged somewhere in the old bell's body, fused too deeply to be reclaimed. She fled before dawn. The temple gate was back. Her raft waited as though no time had passed. The marshlands returned. Reeds. Insects. Grey sky. Real water. In the trade town, she told a woman, "I am Tanvi, bellcaster." The woman smiled, bought a small charm, and forgot her before turning away. Tanvi tried again with merchants. Guards. Children. Priests. "I am Tanvi," she said, over and over. They heard her. They nodded. Then their eyes emptied. The new bell had restored her name to her. But the old bell had rung it once, and that first ringing had travelled further than the marsh. It had entered every memory that had ever held her and scraped her clean from it. She still had a name. The world no longer had a place to keep it. She says Tanvi, and the world hears only silence, because the bell swallowed her before anyone else could remember.